Right, hi guys, and welcome back to the Cruel Corner. We're back once again in this wonderful ranty corner for all things Formula E. Not quite though. Not quite there yet, are we? No. That comes, of course, next week after this weekend's E-Prix from Sao Paulo. Really looking forward to it, and I'm looking forward to getting the first scores on the board for the new Cruel Corner next week, of course. But for now, I'm going to do my predictions, my Formula E predictions for the grid of the 11 teams, where they're going to finish in the Constructors Championship come the end of the season. And obviously for this recording, I have literally just got winter testing to go on. Of course, that was meant to be at Valencia, but it was removed and rescheduled to the Jarama race circuit. Again, thoughts and prayers out to all those in Valencia. It's a right mess over there, and has been for a number of weeks, but they're getting it cleaned up now. And yeah, it was good that Formula E was able to get a last-minute replacement in, so they were able to still test. So that is all I'm going on, basically. I'm going on what happened during the testing program. There were several test days. There was a gimmick race that they had, and there was also a gimmick qualifying session as well. The Gen 3 Evo cars are on track this time around, so they were doing a little bit more with them, just to try and see how they work, what the limitations were, get the teams a bit more familiar with the newer technologies and things. So yeah, overall, I've crunch the numbers in my own mind, which I wasn't ever very good at maths, so you know, I've predicted where they're going to finish. I'm going to start from 11th and work my way up to 1st. So in 11th place, I have gone for Lola Apt. Yes, I have had to go for the Lola Apt team, unfortunately. Down here, finishing last in the Constructors this season. They do look well off the pace, of course. The new Yamaha powertrain. In the back of that, it's their first season in Formula E. A new set of regulations to go to as well, of course. More power and things. I honestly do believe that this first season is a learning season for them anyway. So putting them here in 11th, I honestly don't think it's any disrespect or discredit to them. I hope that they have a relatively good season. They've got a new rookie in Zane Maloney and, of course, Lucas Di Grassi, which is an experienced hand in Formula E. But based on what he did last season, I don't think Di Grassi is going to be offering the results. He can certainly offer the experience, absolutely, and I think he will try and push the team forward in a development side of things. But in terms of on-pace track and action and results, it's going to be very difficult for them to get anything respectable, as I say, based on Di Grassi's last season performance and also the fact that Zane Maloney is a rookie to the championship. So it's going to take a few races for Zane Maloney to find his feet. It's going to take a few races for the team to find the feet. And then maybe, just maybe, when the car gets together, can they scrape a few points? I've no doubt that the points are going to be possible for them later on in the season, but the damage is already going to be done. I'm not saying they're going to be scoring massive amount of points. I think they'll just be happy to pick up some points here and there, 9th, 10th, etc. But yeah, this season it's going to be up against them. It's going to be said. You've got, like I say, a hold hand in Lucas Di Grassi and a relative rookie in Zane Maloney. One on their way out, one just starting their career. A new team, a new powertrain. It's only really the Apt experience that they've got, so that the team will be experienced, but everything else is relatively new and needs to be understood. So 11th place is going to be the Yamaha Lola Apt squad. I think that's how it goes, but yeah, that's 11th place. In 10th place, I have gone for the Kiro Race Co. Is that right? Have I said that right? 10th place for them. Recently just signed David Beckman on the week of the race, so he was a last minute signing, and alongside him is Dan Tinkton once again. The former ERT team, the ERT squad, have been rebranded, renamed and resold. They have got a last year's, well, it's still technically this year's, isn't it? Because it's 2024 when the season starts, but it's a 2024 powertrain, a previous year's powertrain with Porsche, going into the 2025 season, effectively, is the best way to describe it. So yeah, they've got old technology in the back of that car. The Porsche powertrain from last season was fantastic. It was efficient, as you know, and as we all understand. However, I feel that as the teams get more involved with their new technology that are up and down the field, the Mahindras, the Porsches with their new powertrain, the Jaguars, of course, and the Stellantis group as well, I feel that they're going to be obviously working their way up through the season. They're going to be able to put new software on it, understand the car more, get it more efficient, get it more racy, get it more pacey as well, and get the maximum out of it. That Porsche powertrain in the back of the Kiro is going to be understood. That's what you've got. That's your card you dealt with. So I think, although they'll start the season off strongly, Mid-season, they're going to tail off and they're going to fall down the order once again, which is a shame, but at least for the new rebranded squad, it is a start, isn't it? They're not going with their own powertrains anymore, and they've decided that they need customer engines, effectively, customer powertrains, and I feel this is going to be the best way forward for them. In regards to David Beckman, we've seen him on track a few times last season, or the last couple of seasons, where he replaced Lotterer, and he's been basically a stand-in over the past couple of seasons, but never had a full season's drive. I expect him to do good things. Again, though, relative rookie. Yeah, he's done a few races, but the Gen 3 Evo is new to everyone, of course. And David Beckham hasn't got that race experience like the others have. Dan Tincton, a bit of continuity for the team, understands the team well, but last season was a very difficult season for him. Shown up for the most part by Sete Camera. It's just that he had that one good result that made him look better in the standings at the end of the season. But Sete Camera was a lot more consistent than Dan Tincton, getting himself involved in squabbles and fights as usual. We saw the immature side of Dan Tincton come through once again last season, which we haven't really seen during his time in Formula E. So I hope he can curb that, get himself back on track, calm it down, and really push the team forward and get some good results in the early stages of the season, which is going to be crucial because, as I say, mid-season onwards, they're going to plateau, fall down to the back of the field, and will struggle to score points. So the first few races are crucial for Kiro, and that's why I've put them in 10th place. In 9th place, I have gone for the Mahindra squad. They're hoping for big things this season, and I don't doubt that they're going to have a better season than they had last season. I just feel that they're going to struggle still against the other manufacturers and other teams. I'm not saying that they're going to do anything really bad. I just feel that Mahindra doesn't always seem to get the good luck. They always seem to have the bad luck. And I think some of that bad luck will carry forward into this season. And I hope I am really wrong with this result. I hope I really am wrong with 9th. They're confident going into this season, and it's good to see them confident. But I'm kind of erring on the side of caution with the 9th place finish. Good to have continuity with two of the same drivers from last season, of course, with Nick De Vries and Eduardo Mortara. Mortara had a fantastic season last season, but was just incredibly unlucky all of the time, most of the time. And the same with Nick De Vries. Took his a few races to find his feet to get back into Formula E after his brief Formula 1 stint. But this time around, I think he can hit the ground running and do well. I don't expect him to be bad. I just don't expect him to be a point-scoring car regularly. I honestly believe that they're going to be like 12th to 14th. They're going to be on the fringe of the points, but if everyone ahead finishes, like the main teams like Porsche, Jaguar, that it's going to be difficult for them to sneak into the points. That's why they're here. But again, a crazy race, a fantastic strategy with attack modes, etc. Anything to play for, isn't it? But yeah, 9th place for Mahindra. No disrespect or discredit to them. I hope they have a better season than 9th, but overall, as the season pans out, that's where I'm sort of expecting them to finish. In 8th place, I have gone for McLaren. Oh dear, oh dear. Am I really expecting McLaren to finish this low? Unfortunately, I am putting all my eggs in one basket and saying that Taylor Barnard admittedly will make a few rookie mistakes, but what we saw of him in the few races that he did when Bird broke his wrist last season, he was fantastic and he drove really well and scored points when the main drivers weren't scoring any for a while. I believe that Taylor Barnard, admittedly, rookie mistakes will creep in, but he's going to do well for the team. I really do believe he's going to do well for the team. I think he's going to pick up some solid results, but we've got to allow for those rookie errors to creep in. As for Sam Bird, he's a Daniel Ricciardo of Formula E, sadly. He has had his time, he is spent. He gets one good result here and there, and we think all of a sudden this season's on for a fantastic reboost and re-energised championship contender, and it just never happens. He falls flat again after one good result, and it's just not good enough. So I don't think Bird's going to string the results together that is needed for McLaren to finish anywhere other than 8th. I think it's going to be a case of Taylor Barnard will be picking up the points. I'm not saying it's going to be anything staggering. I believe that the McLaren has got pace for good podiums here and there at circuits that suit their car. But I also feel that for the most part they're going to be battling around that 6th to 10th area, getting a few points on the board here and there. But if Taylor Barnard's only picking up an 8th place finish and you've got another car that's not in the points, you're going to quickly drop down the table. So that's why I placed him in 8th. Again, I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong because I really like Sam, and it's frustrating that I have to put him down because I think he's a great guy. I think he was overdue a Formula E World Championship, potentially in the early seasons. You know, he was robbed at times. And it's a shame to see his downfall happen live in front of our eyes, like Daniel Ricciardo. But I hope I'm really proved wrong. I really hope I do. I hope Sang can hit the ground running. I hope he can drag his teammate along with him, Taylor Barnard. I hope they can have a fantastic season. And I hope I can look like an idiot for putting him 8th in the standings at the end of the season. But for now, based on how I think the season's going to pan out, I think 8th is realistic. 7th place, I have placed Envision. They have kept the same driver lineup, of course, from last season, which was Robin Freitz and Sebastian Buemi. I hope they've understood what went wrong throughout most of the season. They started the season off strongly last year with podiums and points finishers, and then they tailed away pretty much after round 2. Scored next to nothing for about 10 races, and then towards the end of the season we finally got some podiums and some points again. If they can understand what went wrong in that middle bit, then good. But unfortunately, if they've understood that the middle bit was wrong due to the drivers, not the team, then they've got an issue, haven't they? And if Robin Freitz and Buemi can't deliver the results that are expected of them, then they're going to finish here in 7th. I do hope it is a more consistent season for them, even if they don't get the podiums. I hope they get the points, is what I would say for that. And I really do wish Envision all the best. And again, I hope I'm massively wrong. I think I put them 3rd or 4th in the standings for last season, and they were the previous season's champions. I didn't expect them to finish 8th, was it, in the end? So this time around, I have placed them in 7th because I'm cautious of what they're going to do. I don't know if it was team, if it was the driver last season, if it was a combination of both on many occasions. But yeah, a cautious 7th I've placed Envision, but I hope to be proved wrong. In 6th place, I have gone for Maserati. Now, this, of course, a new driver lineup for them in Stoffel Vandoorne departing from DS Penske and Jake Hughes departing from McLaren. Vandoorne hasn't really done or excelled anywhere near the likes of his teammate Jean-Eric Vergne during the DS Penske Gen 3 era. The Gen 3 Evo, could that deliver something new? A fresh team, a fresh face, a new ambition perhaps? Could help them go forward. Maserati and particularly Maximilian Gunter was looking like a strong championship contender in the early phases of the season, but sadly for them it all went wrong at Berlin, and it never really recovered fully from there. They had mechanical issues as well when Gunter was in strong positions. So yeah, hopefully I'm thinking that Jake Hughes, had a solid enough season with McLaren last season, but was still erratic at times. I hope he can find his feet now with a new team and really just deliver the results expected of him. And again, for Stoffel Vandoorne, he gets the early season out of the way with. He doesn't worry about it so much, and he can just focus on driving. Focus on working together with Jake, I would say, because that's what they're going to need in the early phases of the season to get the maximum out of the car. I think the Maserati will be a podium contender, but they need to have a good race to do that, and it's all down to the drivers on that part. So yeah, 6th place. I hope to see them do better than that, but I think 6th place is realistic overall. I think I'm sort of expecting Envision, Maserati and McLaren to be all very close in this mid-6th to 8th pack, and they could finish any way round really. But for me personally, looking at the driver lineup, looking at the team, looking at the pace that they had last season, if the driver and team can get it together, 6th place I think is realistic for them. In 5th place, we have Nissan. A surprise potentially to some, or to most perhaps. But yeah, Ollie Rowland, what a stunning season he had last season, and such a shame that he missed the Portland E-Prix due to an ear infection and couldn't fly out there, because he could have been a realistic championship contender going into London, not just a mathematical one, of course. I do believe, honestly, that Rowland will do well once again, but I'm expecting Nissan's sort of pace to be clipped a little bit. I don't think we're going to see the Rowland that we saw last season, and that's not due to Rowland, that's due to Nissan and everyone else catching up with them, because they had a really quick car at times, and even the likes of Porsche and Jaguar didn't have an answer for Rowland and Nissan and that combination. This year I think they will have an answer for him, unfortunately. Norman Nato returns to Nissan as well after a season away at Andretti, returning to Nissan. It'll be interesting to see how he goes. Again, I suppose it's a familiar team to him. As I mentioned, just racing a couple of seasons ago with the team. So he needs to really hit the ground running. Norman, I do rate him as a driver, but at the minute he only ever looks like a solid second driver within any team. So the fact that they've got Ollie Rowland there is fantastic. Norman Nato, though, needs to do a good job. And it's difficult to work out how his pace is going to be at the moment. He blows hot and cold, unfortunately, does Norman. We've seen him have some stunning wins in Formula E. We've seen him take some fantastic podiums. but then we've also seen him out on lap 1 with a needless damage and contact with cars he didn't need to be involved in. So it's difficult. Sasha Fenestraz, of course, has been benched after a really tough second season in Formula E, which is a shame because I think there was potential with Sasha, but I understand the manufacturer Nissan team needs a solid second driver. Norman Nato can be that and should be that, but sometimes he just falls short of that ask for him. So I've placed him in a cautious 5th. I don't think Nissan will be as good this season overall. That's not disrespecting or discrediting Roland's performances or discrediting Nato's performances either. I just think that with the other teams, they're going to be that little bit better. In 4th place, I have gone for DS Penske. Jean-Eric Vergne, of course, continues with that team once again, and alongside him a new teammate in Maximilian Gunter, which is a fantastic pairing for that squad. Gunter, again, we've known him to be really quick, really rapid, but also really inconsistent as well, which is a shame, it is to say. But hopefully he can find his feet and get going and really deliver the goods for him. If he can deliver the goods, then they're going to be finishing higher than 4th. But I have placed him a cautious 4th based on the results that we've seen from Gunter previously, where he has strong results at the start of the season, then bins it, or he has really poor results at the start of the season and then gets really good results at the end. There's not really any consistency with Gunter over the course of a full championship campaign. When you've got 16 rounds, you can't be good for 8 of them. You need to be good for at least 14, and you can have a couple of races where bad luck falls your way. But yeah, Jean-Eric Vergne, of course, the stalwart of that team now, doing a really good job. He will lead the team as always. We'll get the maximum out of that car. We'll take the pole positions, we'll take the podiums, we'll take the points, and we'll take whatever is on offer for the most part throughout the season. Maxi Gunter, if he can have a really strong season, P2 potentially in the constructors for them, but I'm erring on the side of caution with Maxi's erraticness, I would say, and fingers crossed that I'm wrong, but that's where I see him. Placing him 4th overall, again, possibly a cautious result. 3rd place, I have gone for Andretti, and potentially for me, one of the most underrated lineups, I would say, on the grid at the moment. Everyone's raving about Porsche, everyone's raving about Jaguar, everyone's potentially raving about DS Penske squad as well. But for me, personally, Jake Dennis and alongside him, Nico Muller is a stunning lineup for me. The reason why I've placed him in 3rd place is, of course, because we saw Jake Dennis blow his top on several occasions towards the latter stages of last season. It cost himself points, he cost the team great amount of points as well, and I honestly believe that Jake Dennis will probably lose his top again this season because Nico Muller is going to be challenging. He hasn't got a second driver anymore. You know, Jake Dennis has come from the likes of having Lotterer as a teammate, Norman Nato as a teammate. This time around, that's not going to happen. Nico Muller did a stunning job for Abt Cooper last year. Sadly, he was the only car that was scoring points regularly for a team and car that necessarily didn't deserve points at times, but he was getting those results. If he can carry that forward and can get podiums when the car necessarily doesn't deserve it, if he can get victories when the car didn't have the pace but he had the efficiency, it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out there. So I've placed him a cautious 3rd based on the fact that I think that Nico Muller is going to ruffle feathers, and I think Jake Dennis is going to get annoyed at that. And when he sees that Nico Muller's ahead of him in a couple of races, he will try late lunges, late dives on the inside of his competitors and potentially his teammate and cause damage. That's no disrespect or discredit to Jake Dennis, but what we saw of Jake Dennis last year was an erratic and flustered towards the end, it must be said, driver. And Nico Muller, I think, if they can't control it within the team, then yeah, things could boil over. But that's no fault of Nico Muller's. It's going to be more of the fault of Jake Dennis. So let's see how it goes. Cautious 3rd. I'm expecting big things from Andretti though. I'm expecting multiple race wins. I'm expecting them to be championship contenders both in the Constructors and in the Drivers' Championship as well, of course. But I do feel that things are going to spill over on more than one occasion and cost the team points. 2nd place, I have gone for the Jaguar squad, so you know who's going to be the winners this time around. But yeah, Jaguar is 2nd place in my list. Nick Cassidy, during the pre-season testing interview, said that Jaguar are on the back foot compared to where they were hoping to be. So that's an interesting comment to make. This season, this time around, I honestly feel that Jaguar are still going to have a great season. I still think that they're going to be championship contenders, potentially both drivers, unchanged once again with Nick Cassidy and Mitch Evans. But I do honestly feel that Porsche are just going to get it together this season. and be relatively unstoppable, I would say. So yeah, I'm expecting good things from Jaguar once again, but I do feel that they're going to fall just short of the Constructors this time around, and I feel that both drivers will potentially miss out on the Drivers' Championship as well. It's going to be close at the top though. These top 3 teams, I'm expecting them to be trading paints. I'm expecting them to be really, really close, fighting for the top 6 positions, and a bad weekend for them is a 5th and 6th finish. You know, this is where I'm expecting the top 3 teams to be. So let's wait and see, and especially if you get a good driver on the day, like the Nissan's creeping in, the DS Penske's creeping in, the Maserati's creeping in. It's going to make it a little bit crazy, a little bit chaotic. But for now, I think that Jaguar are just going to fall short of Porsche. So yeah, they're second overall. And then, of course, last but by no means least, we are going to talk about Porsche, of course, who are going to be my number 1. I think they're going to take the team's championship this season. Da Costa had a really tough start to the season last year, considering that they were trying to get rid of him mid-season. There was heavy rumours surrounding that they were doing private tests with other drivers away from the circuit to try and basically get a replacement for Da Costa. But then all of a sudden, Da Costa went on this winning streak. He got absolutely shafted last season by the stewards, getting ridiculous penalties, ridiculous disqualifications that he didn't deserve, and without that difficult start, without the ridiculous penalties that Da Costa sustained as well, he would have been champion last season. So I think if he can hit the ground running at the start of the season, the FIA can be a little bit more lenient with Porsche. I don't know if they've just got to be in the bonnet about him and the stewards will take kindly to Porsche at times. Then we'll see. Well, we shall wait and see how it all unfolds, but I honestly believe that Pascal Wehrlein, Antonio Felix Da Costa will be a fantastic driver pairing, and provided that Da Costa can hit the ground running at the start of the season, there'll be no way that Porsche are going to be stopped on winning the Drivers' and Constructors' Championship this year. Like I say, I expect them to be challenged and rivalled at times, but I think we're going to see that Porsche are going to be the dominant factor this season. I really, really do. And I do hope that Da Costa can take another title under his belt, but if not, I'll be happy for Wehrlein to do it. I just want it to be a really exciting title fight, which I think we know Formula E can provide. But for me personally, Porsche are going to be in the advantage, in the hot seat, and will be the ones looking to take victory this season. So of everything, guys, those are my predictions of the top 11 constructors and my reasonings for why I have placed them where I have. Let me know down in the comments section what your predictions are, how you feel the season's going to play out. Are you right in what I said? You know, do you agree that some drivers may struggle more than others, and it might be down to the fact that a driver's going to do poorly for a team as to why they finish lower in regards to like Nissan, for example, and McLaren potentially? Or do you feel that those drivers will deliver and they'll be higher up in the standings than I've predicted? As always, let's have a chat in the comments. I enjoy it. I really do. So thank you so much for watching this episode, guys. I'll see you all on either Tuesday or Monday for the Cruel Corner. It's dependent on work and also dependent on my work schedule afterwards as well. It's a bit difficult, a bit tricky at the moment, but it'll either be Monday or Tuesday next week that the Cruel Corner goes out. It is only one episode at least, so thank God for that, but I've got the Formula E Cruel Room to do as well, so that's the finishing. So I'm starting the season and ending the season in the same week, which is crazy, but we'll get there, guys, we'll get there. But I will see you next week. The Cruel Corner is returning for Season 3. And I really do appreciate your continued support and love with the Formula E series in general. So thank you so much for watching, guys. And as always, much love.